Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Silas, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about my YouTube setup that I've been using for 2022 and of course going to be using for 2023. It's a simple setup, something that I've been kind of thinking about and buying the equipment here and there. It's not too much, I would say, in my standards anyways, and a lot of my comparison is really to bigger YouTubers who have their own space, their own studio, like parts that they don't have to move, they can just leave as is and turn on and be ready to shoot right away. For myself, it's not possible. I do live in a one-bedroom condo, not just by myself, but with my wife as well, and I'm using our living room space. I don't really want to leave my equipment up and make her feel like, uncomfortable or anxious of knocking things over. And of course, with my friends and family coming over as well, it's the same thing. I want them to enjoy the space that we have, and I also want to enjoy the space that I have here with my wife as well, especially when she gets off work and she's tired. She just wants to relax and doesn't want me to have to spend 10-15 minutes taking everything down and moving everything and like that. So again, it's a small setup, I would say, and I think it's really effective for myself, because I'm not doing this full time. I'm just doing this for fun and just want to create some more content as well. So let's get started though with the first piece of equipment. I guess first two pieces of equipment, which is my camera and my lens. So for my camera, I am using the Sony a7S III paired with the Sigma 35mm f1.4 DGDN. The newer one, the one with the better autofocus. I've had the older Sigma 35. Unfortunately, I was not a big fan of the autofocus, especially when it came to video. So I sold it to someone, and then I was able to pick up another used DGDN one for a pretty good price actually. So I was pretty happy and pretty stoked about picking it up. But the thought process between the 35 really was just that it's not too tight and it's not too wide. I did try using the 20mm and just kind of testing it out and seeing how I liked it. And I just thought that the composition was too wide and it showed too much, a lot of empty space. And for me, right now, I'm trying to work around my minimal space that I have. And I think the 35 is a great lens that allows me to create the composition that I wanted. And also, I wouldn't say make it cinematic, but I think it just looks nice. 50 was a little bit too tight. And with the limited space that I have, with the distance of myself and the camera, I just felt like it just was not necessary, and that I would be anyways, a little bit too big, and I really don't like making myself look way bigger in the frame. Maybe it's just I just don't like it. I personally don't like to see myself that big on the screen, so I thought the 35 was a great choice. And of course, it's paired with an amazing video camera in the a7S III, amazing low light capabilities, and I'm using S-Log3, so I do need to overexpose my image a little bit, but the colors and everything has just been great from that camera, and of course paired with a great lens, so I really just can't go wrong with these two. So my camera sits on the next piece of equipment, which is the tripod, which is the Manfrotto B-Free Advanced aluminum version. I believe they have a carbon fiber version, but that just means it's also like $200 more expensive. So I'm not gonna need to spend top dollar for that, especially for a tripod that I'm just gonna be leaving at home and not really bringing it with me outside. It's also paired with the Manfrotto 494 ball head. So it has a quick release system and a quick release plate. So I just leave it on my camera and then I just slap it on when I need to use it, and I can take it out very quickly. Again, it's all about efficiency for myself, just kind of making it simple and easy for me to set everything up so I don't have to worry about it, and also easy to put things away because I had to put things away once I'm done filming. I will say that I don't think I needed to buy the B-Free Advanced per se. I think you can buy any kind of tripod as long as it looks sturdy or works, even if it's a bit heavier, because I am just using it in my home. I'm not really bringing it outside, as I mentioned earlier. So, there's not going to be much wear and tear, so it should survive a lot longer than other tripods that I would be bringing outside with me as well. With that in mind though, that's not all that my tripod is housing, I guess you could say. It also houses my DesView R7 field monitor, which is a 7-inch monitor that I use as an extra little bit to make sure my composition is okay. It's attached to the SmallRig Magic Arm clamp, which is clamped onto my tripod. So my tripod really holds probably two of the most important things. Of course, my camera, and also the monitor that allows me to just make sure that I'm kind of looking okay. Usually I don't look good anyways, but at least just make sure my composition is okay. But also, a little thing that I do anyways, is I have this little pole right here from the wall shelf. I just use that as my center line as well. So I can quickly, in this case I'm looking at the monitor, look at the monitor, make sure everything's okay, and then come back here and then get ready to talk and film as well. So that is the majority of my setup right there. But there is one more thing that I have, and I'm sure you might have guessed, but it's what I use to capture my audio, and it's a Rode Wireless Go Mic 2s. So a big reason why I got the Rode Wireless Go 2 mics was because of its portability and of course its wireless It's not a word, it's wireless. It allows me to capture pretty good audio, I would say. It's a bit pricey. I think it's $400 to $500 Canadian after tax, if I remember correctly. But I guess I can offset it because I am able to use it for my real estate videos, for my realtors who want to feature themselves, talking as an intro or an outro, or even doing small talk in between the features of the home that you're trying to sell. So for myself, it just makes sense. Pairing the Rode Wireless Go 2s with a lavalier mic, which you can clearly see right here, it has allowed me to kind of find a workaround on not having to spend so much and having to like work on sound dampening and ordering blankets and things like that. And so I think this is one of the better investments because it also helps me with my work as well and allows me to capture good audio for my YouTube. So Rode Wireless Go 2 mics, I think is pretty self-explanatory, but it's been an amazing purchase for myself. So there is one piece of equipment that I do not have. I guess more specifically, I'm not using. And you might be thinking, well, Silas, well, you have your camera, you have your lens, and you have your microphone. Tripod, I think, is not necessarily necessary. You can plop your camera anywhere as long as the composition is right. But with the tripod, it just makes things a little bit more flexible of where you want to set everything up. So I would still recommend getting a tripod. But let's say you get those 4 things. You don't need the monitor, it's extra. I honestly think if you have a camera that has a flip out screen, you're good to go. Or as long as you know your setup looks good and you've done a couple test shots before, you don't necessarily need to see yourself. But of course, it just helps. But the one thing that I don't have, and I'm not using in my setup, is a studio light. I do have one. It's in my walk-in closet. It's the Godox SL 60 watt. An amazing light. I think it's really great for the price that you pay, but it just takes a lot of space. And I've been saying that I think a lot throughout this video. Space, space, space. With the way that I'm living in the way that I'm sharing my space with my wife, the light itself is just a little bit too cumbersome and space taking. With that word again. It's nice. I think a lot of people would say that having a studio light is so game changing, and I think it is. I really love the look you can get because you are able to, I guess you can control exactly what you wanted to do. The light, the intensity of the light, the angle of the light, where it splashes onto, and you don't have to fight with daylight. But again, just with it, I had to take it down all the time. It's on wheels, it's on a C-stand. I got to put it back into my walk-in closet and reorganize everything. When I talk about efficiency, it just doesn't feel efficient to me to do that. I actually am, as I said earlier, now using daylight. I mentioned that word now. I never really liked daylight before because it was way too tough to kind of manage fighting with the changing color temperature that I would always have to deal with. But right now, because of the way my place is built and the way that my condo is facing, well, I don't have to deal with that. I don't get any sunlight at all. And with the season right now, since it's mainly cloudy and rainy, I really don't have to deal with that. I have natural diffusion from that. And you can see this giant overexposed corner here. It's not my lamp, it's actually just a curtain rolled up in a corner window. And then I have a bigger patio doors here since we are on the ground floor that's just diffused with the curtain rolled down. So I'm just using daylight. I think it's a nice look. I hope it looks good anyways. But again, just a light. I'm sure in the future, if I have my own space, my own room, bigger place, I'll just have it set up and then I'll be able to just kind of put the light on permanently whenever I need it, because I'll probably have blackout curtains and things like that. But for now, again, it's just a little bit too big, so I don't use it. Well, there you have it. That is my video on my YouTube setup that I've been using in 2022 and going to be using in 2023. 5 pieces of equipment, quote unquote, camera, lens, tripod, monitor, and microphones. I hope that gives you a bit of a perspective, a different perspective on your approach on YouTube setups as well. Even for myself, I've been watching a lot of YouTubers starting out in the beginning when I was acquiring my gear, and I was like, man, I really want to have those fancy lights and microphone systems and sound dampening and multiple camera angles and things like that. But after being able to live in my own space and realizing that that just isn't possible, I've been able to kind of back myself out of that thought process of having a crazy space for myself and just using something a little bit simpler, which again, in the future, I'm sure if I do have a bigger place, I may run into that, I wouldn't say issue, maybe running into that dream of mine of wanting to have a space that's just set up with lights and the cameras are all ready to go, and then hit some, it's a completely like automatic, everything like that. And I'm sure that's something that I would love to have in the future. But again, I just hope this is a great way for you guys to look at it and be like, hey, like I can also get good shots. I can also be thoughtful and mindful of what I want to buy so that I can buy things that work for me and satisfy my needs as of right now in my current self versus wanting to chase after the wants that, well, I'm sure a lot of people would love to have. So thank you again very much for watching this video. If you want to comment, please do. Comment about your YouTube setup, maybe gear you want to acquire, maybe 2023 resolutions or whatever. You know, I want to talk to you. I want to strike up conversation. I want to get to know you better. If you like the video, please give it a like. I would really love that. And if you would consider subscribing to my channel as well, I would really appreciate that. And also hitting that bell notification so you'll always be notified of new videos whenever they come out. So once again, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you all in the next one.